William Temple, Archbishop of Canterbury during the Second World War, famously said that the Church is the only society that exists for the benefit of those who are not its members. It's a reminder that as important as our Sunday morning gatherings are, they are not the most important thing. Even more important is the difference we make to people living in our neighbourhood. As people who worship Jesus Christ, we also follow him out of the church doors to live out our faith together among our neighbours. Living out our faith can be summed up by 3 words you might recognise: engage, grow, and deepen. Engage means being with people in need, helping them overcome their difficulties. It also means asking questions about why so many people are experiencing those difficulties, like poverty, homelessness, or loneliness, and sometimes challenging our local and national leaders, asking them to do better in making our society fairer. It also means working to make sure that our planet is a safe and healthy home for all of us, and all of the other creatures we share it with. Grow means being ready to talk about our faith with people we go to church with, but also those who don't go to church, so that they too can discover the invitation Jesus offers everyone to become one of his followers. Deepen means that everyone who is a follower of Jesus Christ, whether they are brand new to the faith or have been a Christian for many years, is growing in their faith. That includes learning more about God, but even more importantly, coming to know God even more closely, and allowing our friendship with God to shape the sort of life we are living. You are already doing more to engage, grow, and deepen than you might realise. Everywhere I go around the villages and towns of West Norfolk and Cambridgeshire, and the cities of Peterborough and Cambridge, I discover members of our churches making a difference in their neighbourhoods. Sometimes they don't even realise that it's their Christian faith that has inspired them, but it is. With some small but important changes, we can make our church buildings and our services even more welcoming to people who haven't been before. We can invite our friends and neighbours to come. It's surprising how big a barrier even an opened church door can seem to many. I was taken aback recently when a member of my own family, expressing an interest in faith for the first time in their life, was surprised to learn that they could just turn up to their parish church. We think people know that they can come, but often they don't. They need someone to invite them and bring them along. And it's not just about people coming to services, of course. During the pandemic, lots of food banks have sprung up in church buildings, sometimes started by congregations, and sometimes set up by people in the neighbourhood working in partnership with us. Despite that, there are still lots of people who wouldn't even think of going into a church building or attending a service of Christian worship. For decades now, our congregations have been getting smaller and older, and we can't honestly say that they've reflected the diversity of our communities. All across our diocese, as well as making our churches more welcoming and better used to engage, grow and deepen, lots of you are trying out new ways to connect with new people. Instead of wondering how we can get them in, many of you are asking how we can get us out, and many of you are having a go at joining in. I say joining in because engaging, growing and deepening isn't something we do for God. We do it with God, because God is already at work, rest and play as much in our neighbourhoods as in our churches. When we step out to meet new people, we're not taking God to them. God is already there. And it's joining in with people too. It's about discovering what's going on in their lives, being with them where they are, finding out what's happening in their neighbourhood and, well, joining in. And in that joining in come the opportunities to share our faith in all the ways we've touched on. Being with people in need, helping them in their struggles, and calling out the unfairness that makes life a struggle for them and us. Making sure our environment is healthy and safe for all God's creatures. Speaking about Jesus Christ and his invitation to become a follower, and encouraging and supporting one another in our following. Sometimes the new people we connect with in new ways will want to be church where they are, and will want us to be church with them there too. There are new sorts of church, we call them fresh expressions, springing up all over our diocese, and it doesn't mean the end for the church we already have. The Cambridge Church's Homeless Project has seen real improvements in quality of life for people living on the streets or in vulnerable housing. Some too have discovered or rekindled Christian faith. A group for people exploring faith together has become church for some of them. Still others have started attending the parish church that has been a base for the project. So a new way of connecting with people has meant engaging, growing and deepening, and seeing growth for both the new form of church and the church we already have. The touch point in your neighbourhood might well be something else entirely. It might be around loneliness, or supporting your local school, or a home for the elderly, or, as we've already mentioned, a food bank. We might worry about stepping out like this. We're already feeling stretched, keeping going with the church we've already got. So many of you are giving sacrificially your time, money and energy. You might feel you're already giving more than you can keep up forever. But this isn't always about doing more. Often it's about changing what we invest in, how we use our time, money and energy. It might be also that these are the sorts of things you're used to the paid priest doing. It can feel daunting to think that you, an ordinary churchgoer, might be asked to do some of these things too. But as we get used to having fewer paid priests around than we once did, we are rediscovering that this was always the calling for the whole church, for all its members, not just the professional Christians wearing a dog collar. So as we embark on the journey of Living Ely 2025, it's an opportunity for all of us to discover how we can connect with new people in new ways, supported by the clergy of course, but recovering what was always ours, what always belonged to all of us, God's invitation to join in with what God is doing in homes, streets, schools, shops, pubs and community centres of our neighbourhoods, and enjoy the privilege and delight of making a difference right where we are.